In the heart of a fog-shrouded forest, where ancient trees twisted like tortured souls, stood the abandoned Oakhaven logging camp. Its decaying structures whispered tales of loggers who vanished without a trace, their fates lost to the eerie silence that blanketed the woods. Locals spoke in hushed tones of strange voices carried on the wind, warning those who dared to venture too close. Jason, a burly man in his mid-30s with shoulders as broad as the trees he once felled, found himself reluctantly drawn back to Oakhaven. His calloused hands clenched as he surveyed the rotting cabins. His eyes narrowed with suspicion. He had sworn never to return, but fate had other plans. Beside him stood Summer, a slender woman in her late 20s with auburn hair that danced in wisps around her face. Her bright, curious eyes darted from shadow to shadow, drinking in every detail of the haunting scene before her. Where Jason saw danger, Summer sensed mystery. Her empathetic nature opened to the whispers of the forest. As they ventured deeper into the camp, the fog thickened, swirling around their ankles like ghostly tendrils. Jason's practical mind struggled to explain the unnatural chill that seeped into his bones, while Summer's imagination ran wild with possibilities. The silence was oppressive, broken only by the occasional creak of weathered wood and their own cautious footsteps. Suddenly a sound pierced the air, a low, mournful wail that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. Jason instinctively moved in front of Summer, his body tense and ready for action. But Summer, her eyes wide with a mix of fear and fascination, placed a gentle hand on his arm. "Listen," she whispered, her voice barely audible. The wail morphed into words, indistinct at first, but growing clearer with each passing moment. They spoke of ancient rituals, of sacrifices made to appease the forest, of men consumed by the very land they sought to tame. Jason shook his head, trying to deny the impossible, but Summer stood transfixed, her mind opening to truths beyond the veil of reality. As night fell, the shadows of Oakhaven seemed to come alive. Shapes moved in the corners of their vision, always disappearing when looked at directly. The air grew thick with the scent of decay and something else, something old and primal that set their hearts racing. In the center of the camp, they found a clearing where the loggers had once gathered. Now it was a place of dark reverence, the ground marked with strange symbols that pulsed with an otherworldly light. Summer approached, drawn by an unseen force, her fingers reaching out to trace the eldritch patterns. Jason called out, his voice hoarse with fear, but his words were lost in a sudden gust of wind that howled through the trees. As Summer's hand made contact with the ground, the forest itself seemed to shudder. The twisted trees groaned, their branches reaching down like gnarled fingers. In that moment, as the boundary between worlds thinned, Jason and Summer realized the true horror of Oakhaven. It was not just a place of disappearances and whispered legends. It was a gateway, a threshold to something vast and unknowable, something that had been waiting patiently for untold ages. And now it had found them.